I have been requested to review the Machinewise Serif. My Serif is a version 1. It is serialized 0341, and in it are neither of the stock weights, but actually zippy light weights, which I will do a bigger review on various zippy mods. Albeit a lot of the things I've bought mods for I don't actually have anymore because I've traded them. I don't regret trading my ultralight, but I do miss it, and mine was a little special. So, but without further ado, what is there to say about the Machinewise Serif that hasn't already been said? I am just one voice of many, but essentially the Machinewise Serif is art. It's art. It's amazing. There have been a lot of videos by Will Hirsch and other people, and Blade Bias. The Machinewise Serif is a titanium Chanwich design. If you don't know what Chanwich means, it means that it is not sandwich quite where you have just two slabs and a spacer that goes through, and it's not quite channel where you just have a single solid piece. It is a little bit of both. So this is actually two pieces. There's a slight seam here. Yeah, there it is. Two pieces, and but it comes together to make one channel. Now, despite this, or maybe because of it, it actually has insane tolerances. Machinewise is known to have really, really, really good tolerances. They also, I believe, come with stainless steel washers, and this blade, they machine these blades while they're hardened. And there's a video that Will Hirsch did of the Machinewise factory tour. There is this, it's hard to show. Hello, please. There are these really gorgeous machine lines on the blade. It's not quite showing up. Not quite showing up. That's unfortunate. The handles are these chevrons, and they come together into like this sort of crisscross down here on the bottom. And there's jimping, and yeah, jimping on both sides. The channel side, the outside, and the sound. Oh my god. It has this unmatched, hello focus please. It has this unmatched sound for, I don't know. It's just got this gorgeous ring to it, but it's clacky. It's kind of noisy. So if you don't like noisy battle songs, well, you should still get this because it's so good. So, man, I'm trying to think of like what hasn't already been said, but I'll say what I think. The Serif is just really good. The Serif is, in my opinion, one of the best flippers, and I know that a lot of people who I've talked to various makers on Instagram, and some people will say that they're not very interested in like CNC knives. A lot of the ones who make handmade stuff, but they all hold so much respect for Machinewise because he do good knife, they do good knife. Now that there's multiple people, and they're just really quality, and it seems that everyone really loves the Machinewise team, particularly Dalen at least. I don't know how many people know the other people. I don't even know their names. But it's very, very good, and essentially what you get out of the product is when you buy one, you get a case. I don't have an updated case. Mine is like this old version, but in here I also have, oops, let's see, this is the old case. The current ones are more, what's it called, streamlined, and I have these brass weights down here. Wait a second, where are my other brass weights? Where are my light weights? My medium weights? Oh dear, I should find those. Oh, might be in here. I really hope they're in there. Whew, I'm a little worried now. What am I doing? And what are these spacers for? I don't even remember. I have just unmarked spacers that I gotta put in bags. Anyways, that's a little spooky. Because those weights are good, and I like the medium weights. But currently in here, I have the zippy weights. Essentially what happens is that you have two sets of weights. You have medium brass weights, and you have heavy weights. With no weights, it feels neutral, but there's not a lot of weight at the ends of the handles. With medium weights, it's slightly I always get that. Slightly handle biased, but it feels really good and great fanning, of course, but also has the momentum of rollovers. And if you prefer a more heavy handle bias, you have that option too. You're wrong, but the fact that the Serif has this is good. Now, while it has really, really good tolerances, it is a little bit of a pain in the butt too. You have to basically disassemble the whole thing in a sense. Like, you don't have to disassemble the whole thing, but when you disassemble it, you unscrew here and you unscrew here, and you take out the Chanwich part, or you can take out enough that you can lift it here, tap out the weight, put in the other weight, screw it all down, and then do it for the other handle again. And so I did that with medium weights. I started with medium weights, unscrewed the whole thing, and put in the heavy weights, put it all back in, flipped it a bunch to see how I liked it, unscrewed it, 0 weights, flipped it a bunch, and did it again, and then I put medium weights. And then I did it one more time for the zippy lightweights. So if you like hot swapping weight systems, this doesn't have that, but obviously not everything can be 100% perfect, and this is still very close. That's just like it's like, I don't even know if it's a complete, it's more just like a, hey, to be aware, you do have to, it takes time to try out the different weights. But once you have it, you just leave it in there, and it has tolerances like no one else. And boy howdy, do I have things to say about tolerances later. This is, right now, this is a T10 hardware. The Machinewise account on Instagram posted that they will be changing everything to T15, which is a little unusual because not a lot of Balisongs use T15. However, I wholeheartedly support that because I think that T8 and T6 fucking suck because they strip really easily. And obviously there's like better stuff, but like so much hardware, even good hardware for good knives have very strippable hardware. T6. Now T15 is bigger and is less likely to strip. However, one of my T15 knives, this is on T15 hardware, and this is a T10 bit. Let's see, it should say T10. Hello, focus, please. Focus. Oh my goodness. It says T10. If you don't believe me, deal with it. It says T10. But yeah, it still fits in a T15. Not perfectly, but you can still tighten and loosen a T15 screw. There's give here, but yeah, I support that. So the difference between the Serif version 1 and the Serif version 2 is apparently not much in terms of flipping, but the Serif version 2 is on the Marin platform, which means that all blades by Machinewise, all current blades by Machinewise, fit each other. That's the Prisma Pro, which have the same trainer blade, the Slift T version 2, the Serif V2, the Opus, and the Marin, which has been retired, but fits all 6 of those knives. All 6 knives have interchangeable blades, which is just insane. Now, unfortunately, this is the version 1, and so when I did have a Prisma Pro at the same time as my Serif, I tried it, and unfortunately, putting a trainer blade on this slaps. And that's, that's whatever. They updated it later so that it became on the Marin platform, but this is not. But I hear that it flips basically the same, but if you like the interchangeability, just be aware that you need a version 2. And, I had something else to say about the, what is it? This just it's like not too heavy. I want to say it's 4 ounces or less. I want to say it's under 4.2, I think. I could be very wrong. You know what? I should double check this right now. Just because, no, it's going to be in the description. That's going to be ugly for the video. But it flips really well. One thing I really like also about the zippy lightweight, which I will talk about later in a zippy video, is that the lightweights make it feel neutral, but give it just that little bit of weight for the momentum, which is like perfect. It's perfect. I like the medium weights. I love the medium weights. I love these lightweights. Without the weights, it just lacks a little bit of that momentum. And I love neutral knives. These are such long handles, and I find that with the Prisma and the Prisma Pro, it's a little annoying when you want to do, ladder twirls, or sorry, twirl ladder, or extended full twirl, and you just have all of this length on the handle and this weight at the end. And so for going back and forth, that can be very frustrating when you have like these like steel screws. I think they're steel. With the brass weights, the heavy brass weights, it feels that way too. But that's just a preference thing. The medium weights, it didn't feel that bad. The neutral, with no weights, it's really easy to do the twirl ladder. But the zippy lightweights are like so good because it gives me that like neutral vibe without feeling like it's hindering my twirl ladder ability. But still gives me like the momentum for doing, things like this. It's just, I have now gotten more experience with knives with no momentum. Like, I have been privileged to say that I had not flipped bad knives until recently, and they're not even bad knives; they're just mediocre. But the Serif is anything but. Now this thing will run you up to $700. It's usually $500 to $700, depending on the level of blemishes and the level of the anodization. Like a Serif trainer raw blemished might be like $500, whereas an anodized Serif is like $700. Blemished raw trainer Serif is like $500, and then like this could be like $700. And there are like nicer sunset fades and circle whatever. So is it worth the money? Now it's just a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I know it's a lot of money, but it's not over $1,000 like some knives are. I've never flipped an Orca, but I don't understand how one can justify a knife like that. And here I am. I want his Isaacs. I don't understand how JK charges so much money for machining. But this is the cream of the crop. I think most people can agree that even if it's not their preferences, this is an incredibly good product. This is a master work, and it only got a little better too. Now compare it to the Cygnus size. It does have longer handles. Handles are a little longer. The blade is a little longer, so it's a little long. That's just Machinewise in general. All their knives are just kind of long. Now, if you cannot afford the Serif, I will say the Prisma Pro is a very good approximation. It's not the same, of course. It's obviously not the same. The Prisma Pro is $150 to $175 based off of blemishes. That is a much, much, much more affordable knife compared to $500 to $700 knives. Now, I would say the Serif, if this was like S tier, SSS tier, whatever. I don't really know how to even tier list knives. A lot of its preferences. This is, however, an objectively good product just because of the hardware, the machining, the texturing, the tolerances. It's objectively good. The Prisma Pro is also objectively good, and especially they recently updated it so that it's going to be on 7075 aluminum instead of 6061. Which matters to some people, especially mattered on the Nautilus, which I talk about in my Nautilus versus Trident video. I did not notice a big difference with the 6061. I haven't tried the 7075 version, but the 6061 version felt great. It felt really good. I don't have mine anymore, but it felt really good. I would say that if this was SSS tier, the Prisma Pro is A tier. I don't love the Prisma V1. I have a video about how the Prisma is not normal. It's not bad. It's just kind of weird, and it wasn't for me. The Prisma Pro is much better, and compared to the Prisma, I would say if you have a choice between a Prisma V1 and Prisma Pro, chuck in the extra money for the Prisma Pro. It's worth it. And it's a similar feeling. It's obviously not as good. Like the Prisma Pro, I'm like, this is pretty good. And the Serif, I'm going like, oh, this is amazing. This is one of my favorites. So, I would say, yeah, it's really, really solid, the Prisma Pro, and it is a approximation of the Serif. I also thought that I would be worried about grip because there are no cutouts. This has good grip. This is really good grip. It's titanium. It is very, very comfortable to hold because there are no cutouts, and me and my dainty baby hands that are so sensitive, so sensitive. I find that sometimes holes, certain cutout patterns can just be really rough on my hand, but there are no cutouts. It's this gorgeous chevron that is very grippy, and when I drop the knife, it's on me, not the knife. So I don't really think I have anything left to say. I have not tried the Slifty or the Opus or the Marin. I have a Delta 50, which I can cover more in detail another time. But yeah, also I will say, since this is on steel washers, make sure to keep it lubricated. But besides that, like, I think I'm all set with everything to say about this knife. It is really, really good. And it's worth having in your collection if you are a collector and you got some money to spend. And I got lucky because I traded with cash an Alpha Beast Hourglass. And I didn't love the Alpha Beast. It was very rough on my hands. I heard that more recent ones are like nicer. Thankfully, the person I traded it to really likes it. So I was so worried that they would hate it too. I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. Oh my god, though, this is so good. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I really want an expensive knife. Like, would I trade this? Because I do want a V2. Maybe someday I would try other blades. I would love to try a Serif with Opus blade or a Serif with Slifty blade. But I cannot right now. But basically, if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I do daily uploads. Check out my coffee. A little bit of money goes a long way because knives are not cheap. And I really like making these videos. And I love rambling about knives. I will ramble anyone about these knives. So, Serif is goated. That's all I have to say. Happy flipping, and if you have one, I'm sure you already love it. And if you don't have one and you can't afford one, Prisma Pro is very good. So, happy flipping. Take care. See you around.